The grand lobby of Sterling Corp was a temple of wealth, all gleaming marble and soaring ceilings. But the moment James Franklin's wheelchair rolled across the pristine floor, that perfect world was poisoned by a single voice. "Deliveries go around back." The words were sharp, coated in disgust. They came from the receptionist, Amanda, who didn't even bother to find out who he is. To her, the man in the wheelchair wasn't a visitor. He was an interruption, an inconvenience, a problem that didn't belong in her perfect, polished world. Her voice dripped with venom as she added, "Can't you read?" Before we dive into this interesting story, kindly tell us where you are watching from in the comments. Don, T, forget to subscribe and hit the like button. The man, James Franklin, stopped his wheelchair a few feet from her massive marble desk. The lobby felt like a cathedral to corporate power, gleaming floors, impossibly high ceilings, and the quiet hum of money. He was dressed simply but looked sharp, his expression completely calm. "Good morning," James said, his voice steady and polite. "I'm not a delivery. I have a 10 a.m. meeting with Mr. Sterling." Amanda finally put her phone down, her eyes raking over him with obvious disgust. She glanced at his wheelchair, then back at his face, a little smirk playing on her lips. A meeting? With the CEO? That's cute. But no. She tapped dramatically at her keyboard, the loud click-clack of her acrylic nails echoing in the quiet lobby. "Name? James Franklin." She stared at her screen for a second before a smug smile spread across her face. "Nope, nothing here. There's no James Franklin on Mr. Sterling's schedule. Are you sure you're even in the right building?" Her tone made it sound like he was probably looking for a homeless shelter. A couple of people sitting on the fancy leather couches glanced over. They saw the whole thing, the blatant disrespect, but quickly looked away, hiding behind their phones and newspapers. Their silence was its own form of judgment, leaving James to face the humiliation alone. James felt that all too familiar sting of being made to feel small. But years of dealing with a world that wasn't designed for him had taught him patience. "Could you please check again?" he asked, his voice still calm. "It's about the acquisition. It's very important." Amanda let out a short, ugly laugh. "The acquisition? Oh, please. Look, I don't have time for whatever game you're playing. Mr. Sterling is a busy man. He doesn't take walk-ins." She waved a hand at him. "Now, if you're not making a delivery, you need to leave. You're making our guests uncomfortable." But up on the top floor, in a huge corner office with a view of the entire city, CEO Alan Sterling was watching the whole thing on a security monitor. He had been waiting for James Franklin, the man who had just bought a controlling stake in his company. The man who was, as of today, his new boss. Alan's jaw was tight with fury as he watched his receptionist tear a man's dignity to shreds. He grabbed his desk phone. "Get HR and security to the main lobby. Now!" Back in the lobby, things were getting worse. A young intern named Chloe, who was sorting mail nearby, watched with wide-eyed horror. She saw the quiet pain in James's eyes and the sheer cruelty on Amanda's face. "Sir, maybe I can get you some water while you wait," Chloe whispered. Amanda shot her a look that could kill. "Chloe, what did I say about talking to strangers? Do your job. This has nothing to do with you." She turned back to James, her voice getting louder. "See? Now you're a distraction. I already asked you to leave. Do you want to call security?" "That won't be necessary," James replied, though his calm expression was finally starting to crack. The humiliation wasn't just a sting anymore. It was a throbbing ache. "I'll wait. I'm certain this is all just a misunderstanding." "The only misunderstanding here," Amanda spat, leaning over the counter to talk down to him, "is you thinking you belong in a place like this. This is for successful people, for winners, not for charity cases." The words just hung there in the air, sharp and poisonous. The lobby would have been filled with a low murmur, went dead silent. Everyone heard it. Everyone saw a disabled black man get verbally attacked, and not a single person did a thing. Upstairs, Alan Sterling slammed his fist on his desk. "That's it." He straightened his tie, his eyes blazing. He'd seen more than enough. Disrespect was a poison he wouldn't tolerate in his company, and he'd just found the source. He stormed out of his office, skipping his private elevator and heading straight for the main glass lift that went right into the center of the lobby. The moment the elevator doors opened, it was like a switch flipped, and Amanda, the sneer on her face melted away, replaced by a sugary sweet boot-licking smile. She stood up taller, smoothing down her dress. "Mr. Sterling." "Good morning," she chirped, her voice suddenly several octaves higher. "I was just handling a little disturbance." This man was refusing to leave. She pointed right at James, trying to look like a loyal gatekeeper. Alan Sterling walked right past her, as if she were invisible. He went straight to James, his face etched with a deep apology, and held out his hand. "Mr. Franklin," he said, his voice booming with authority in the silent lobby. "I'm Alan Sterling. I can't begin to tell you how sorry I am for this disgraceful welcome. I was on my way down to greet you myself. Please forgive us." James looked at the CEO's outstretched hand, then glanced at Amanda. Her face was frozen, the fake smile still plastered on, but her eyes were wide with confusion and a creeping dread. She watched horrified as James shook the CEO's hand. "Alan, it's good to meet you in person," James said, his voice firm again. "Though I have to admit, my first impression of Sterling Corp's hospitality has been memorable." Amanda's blood ran cold. Mr. Franklin. The name finally clicked. Not a delivery guy. Not a charity case. James Franklin, the titan of industry, the investor who'd been all over the news, the man who had just bought the company, her new boss. She started to stammer, her face turning chalk white. Mr. Sterling, I didn't know. He wasn't on my schedule. I was just doing my job." Alan finally turned to face her, his eyes as cold as the marble floor. "Your job? Is it your job to mock a man's disability, Amanda? Is it your job to treat a guest with that much hatred? Is it your job to decide who gets to walk into this building based on their skin color, or because they use a wheelchair?" He pointed to a security camera. "You should know we have audio in this lobby. I saw and heard everything. Every single disgusting word." Tears started streaming down Amanda's face. "Sir, please. I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake." She turned to James, her voice begging. "Mr. Franklin, please, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me." James just looked at her, not with anger, but with deep disappointment. "You didn't make a mistake," he said quietly. "You made a choice. You chose to be cruel. The only thing you didn't know was who I was. But that shouldn't matter. Kindness shouldn't depend on someone's job title or bank account." Alan Sterling nodded grimly. "You are terminated, effective immediately. Pack your things." Just then, 2 security guards and the head of HR arrived. As they moved toward the desk, Amanda started sobbing uncontrollably. Alan then looked over to the male corner, where Chloe was trying her best to disappear. "You," he called out. The intern jumped. "What's your name?" "Chloe, sir," she squeaked. "Chloe," Alan said, his voice much softer now. "Today, you were the only one in this lobby who showed any human decency. You're the kind of person we want at Sterling Corporation. As of this afternoon, you're my new executive assistant. We'll find a permanent receptionist, but until we do, I want someone with integrity at the front desk." Chloe just stared, completely speechless. As security escorted a weeping Amanda out of the building, Alan Sterling gestured toward the elevators. "Shall we, Mr. Franklin? We got a company to run." James nodded, a small, determined smile on his face. He glanced back at the now empty reception desk. The story of what happened in the lobby would spread to the company like wildfire, a lesson in respect that no one would ever forget. It was a lesson for everyone. Treat people with dignity. You never know who they are, and you never, ever know who's watching. Thank you for watching. We believe stories have the power to teach us important lessons about life. If this story moved you, please give a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, be kind to each other